Sori.
We are about to do Master of Puppets. So last week we talked about what was that song? Not Atlas Rise. The scary one about the computers.
I know, I don't remember what the name of it was.
Spit out the bone!
Spit out the bone, yeah.
And I was saying that somebody was comparing it to Master of Puppets. I was like, it's not Master of Puppets. And you're like, what's Master of Puppets?
Oh,
so now, hey, here we are. Now we will be reviewing Master of Puppets. So I'm very, very excited just because I just want to rock to this song. I haven't heard it in a very, very long time. Like I said, my music sampling has been very, very constricted. I usually like to listen to the bathroom when I'm taking a shower. I'm going to rock out the shower. But I can't because then Sori's going to hear it. So.
Right. I was like, well, haven't you heard it already? But you're right. I would hear it.
Remember we were watching that documentary and their friend died and he died in that bus accident and all that, the black guys.
Oh yeah.
This was he was on this record.
Oh really?
Cliff Burton, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Like you'll
that was
get
a
some like
story.
Yeah, it was a very sad story. You'll get some true cult Metallica fans who'll be like, they were never the same after this record. I mean, the guy was.
Well, I mean that would make sense.
He was amazing bassist. This is a record before the record where they turned down the bass. It's kind of grieving process. Anyway, Master of Puppets. I'm just so tired.
Wow.
That is Metallica. That is Metallica.
Okay, I'm giving this one a 10.
What do you give a
I'm
10?
giving it a 10.
What?
I'm giving this one a 10. This is the best. This is the best. This is the best one. I have not heard a better Metallica.
Ever.
Okay.
Ever. Ever.
Oh my word.
Come on, man. You gonna spit out the bones of that. Stop.
No.
Stop.
No. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Don't lie to the people. No, spit out the bone was badass, but this.
Yeah, but it doesn't beat this.
This is some classical shit.
Yeah, okay.
This is some shit. Lyrically, whoo.
So he was talking about addiction?
Uh-huh.
It was so weird because before that, I didn't know what we were talking about. And when he said, cut your mirror up, cut your breakfast up on a mirror, I'm like watching somebody chop up eggs and putting ketchup on them, like on a mirror. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And then you said heroin. I'm like, oh yes.
I said cocaine.
You said cocaine. I'm like, oh yes, of course.
What about that gold chain? What about that gold ring?
Wow. And then in the middle, it was crazy because like it was like talking about the master stuff, and then like he was trying to get it or she was trying to get it, and then in the middle there's like that part where it was just like, ooh, it was like okay, they got it,
interlude.
yeah, and everything was good, everything was chill, but then all of a sudden it starts back in again because the high only lasts so long.
Oh.
And then it was back to the master.
I never thought of that.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
That's because you didn't journey with the music.
That's true. It's like that's when you're like in the ecstasy of the high. But then it creeps up on you. I'm
like, here it comes.
Oh, that's so insightful. I don't think anybody. I don't even think they knew that.
They did too. Happening. That's exactly what they were doing.
Sure.
You know what? Remember on
That's crazy. That's such a good point. You're so right. You're so right.
I'll just gloat in this moment.
Because it's so beautiful and it's so hypnotic and entrancing, but then it creeps. Then that dun 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 dun
coming up on you, and then all of a sudden you're after it again.
Where's those dreams that I've been after? Laughter, laughing at my cries. Such a good song.
Remember in Lord of the Rings? Remember Frodo? He was carrying that ring around.
Yeah.
And then like
Mr. Frodo.
Yeah, he would start to like everybody just started like needing that ring.
Yeah.
And like they began obsessing about it. And there was like one scene where like he I think it was when he was gonna throw the ring into the like fire, but he doesn't do it. But like there's this like a battle that's going on and he's like, ugh, you know what I mean? And like I think that this is obviously talking about like drugs, but that could apply to anything. Like we all have something that like there's something destructive in our lives that we're drawn to, and it's almost like it's our master, but we have to master it. Remember when God was talking to Cain, he said like sin is crouching at the door.
Its desire is to have you, but you must master it.
Yeah, he had to master it. He had to rule over it. So I think there's always something that if we stop and we really look at how it affects our lives, we'll realize that it's very destructive. You know, and it doesn't just have to be drugs. It can be relationships. It can be, you know, just things. It can be, you know, there's so many mindsets and stuff that are actually very destructive.
Yeah.
But we want it, and it goes after us, and it can be very, very difficult to stop or to move away from those things.
Well, he says, "Master, master, where are the dreams that I've been after?"
Yeah, it's smashing, twisting your mind and smashing your mind.
Only lies. Mm-hmm. So there's. And it's interesting about when you think about drugs, like, you know, when people talk about sex addiction, or pornography, it's really a form of drug addiction because you get all these endorphins that get released into your body. Right. And so really the porn acts to release certain hormones and drugs into your body, into your stream. Alec, I don't know if endorphins are actually drugs, but, you know, help me out with that. But I got so many things to talk to you about.
It's gonna be a long conversation.
But it releases that shit into your bloodstream. Mm-hmm. So like even if it's not like you're doing something externally, like cocaine or something that or whatever, and then there's that crash. Yeah. You know, like I've talked to so many dudes that are you know addicted to pornography. Uh-huh. and it functions in very much the same way. I mean, they define addiction as something that you enjoy that you can't stop even though you want to. So if you want to stop something you can't, you're addicted to it. That's the nature of addiction.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've heard of guys like leaving work so that they can get their porn fix and being late to work. I mean, just crazy shit, man. Like,
wow.
Yeah, dude. Like, and it completely like wrecks your life, but it becomes your master, and it's crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, like I think it's Romans 6 where Paul says, basically, don't you know that whatever you sell yourself to, it becomes your master.
Yeah.
And so the irony for me is like people saying, I'm going to be my master of myself. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm my own master. I'm going to steer my own ship.
Yep.
Sure. Sure. These guys are multi-millionaire rock stars. Yeah. Why do you think they made the song?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you can be trapped by power. Like, so for example, a guy like Trump. I don't know if you've heard this theory. Me and my brother were talking about it. Where like he was just running to prove a point.
That's what it felt like.
There's like this theory that like when he won, he was like, what the fuck?
That's what it looked like. And like I remember seeing that, and I don't watch a whole lot of that stuff, but I remember seeing like the kid looked like that he did not expect to be woken up.
Yeah, the whole family was fucking shell shocked.
Yeah, it literally looked like that. I was like, yo, he didn't think he was gonna win.
What's occurring? But now he's trapped by the power.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'm just, there's so many, like once you attain a certain level of power, you then become a slave to the concept of power, because then you got to do all this shit to maintain your power. Mm-hmm. Like Herod, you know, he killed his own kids. You know what I mean? Like because he thought that somebody that wanted, So then you have to. Can you imagine? Like so the power basically, you know, was like, hey, this guy's gonna steal me from you. So now you have to, you know.
Well, remember that movie that we went to see that we were gonna.
Avengers.
Yeah, the Avengers movie.
Yeah, with Thanos.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only thing he loved.
Thanos had to make a decision.
Right.
In order to
get that power.
In order to maintain that power.
Destroy the only thing that he loved.
Yeah. So, which is true. A lot of times, like in order to have, like if you get high off of power and controlling people, you end up having to destroy those people. Like I've seen it. Like dudes who are like complete control freaks. In order to do that, they have to sacrifice the people that they love, and they end up losing them. But they had the control, so hey, you know, if you get off on that, then there you go. So it's like, I know that the easiest and the most direct interpretation is about drugs, but it's really about just the nature of the human experience.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, you know, I don't have a problem with saying, you know, when you say the word Lord, the kurios, the word in Greek, it means master. So I don't have a problem with saying that God is my master. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, like, that's kind of like the deception. A lot of them like, oh, they're saying that somebody's your master?
Yeah.
Yes. You are mastered by something or someone. Believe me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, so like, to me, it's just a matter of like...
I was going to say, it's a level of self-awareness to realize what is your master.
Exactly.
Like, if you think that you're your own master, you're deceived. Exactly.
These guys wrote this shit when they were in their 20s, I think. And, like, that to me is a very, very deep level of self-awareness. Mm-hmm. I don't think that everything is autobiographical here, but I do think when you're in your 20s and you're a multi-millionaire and you're playing to literally thousands of people who are worshiping you as some sort of, you know, divine being, for you to have the understanding that I'm still controlled by something.
Yes.
Still controlled by this substance, or I'm still controlled by rock stardom. You know? Mm-hmm. I mean, we experience I mean, we're not celebrities at all. But we do experience it where, you know, I'll log in and I'll like, let me talk to some people. And then you'll have somebody that says, you didn't say anything to me. You're ignoring me. I guess I'm not important, and da-da-da-da-da. And you immediately have this impulse to go, no. And then I'm like, wait a second here. Whoa. Because if I get myself in that mindset, I'm going to be mastered by this thing. Like, and so, and you know me, like arguments and things like that, like the impulse to answer every argument. You know what I mean? And I remember God saying, like, if you're not careful, this thing is gonna like control you. Like, it's gonna completely dominate your life. It's just more of like people saying crazy stuff, like reckless stuff that are just illogical, and it's like there's 20,000 people in our community, you know, so like, you know, some people I'm gonna be able to hit and some people I'm not, and there's no algorithm to it, but just like the need to say, come on, man, think logically about this. You know what I mean? Like, hello, you know, and it's like sometimes it's like, no, don't say a word. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, you know. I don't know, but yeah, you can be mastered by anything, but it always comes with some sort of promise, though. You know what I mean? Like, what? Because that's the reason you sell yourself into that slavery.
Right, because it has something you want.
Yeah, it's saying, you know, let me be your master and I'll give you this nice house on the plantation and blah, 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 blah.
Well, this is why people say desires are bad.
Yeah. Right. There's some philosophies, you know, Buddhist people help me out that, you know, desire is the root of all suffering.
Right.
That's such a good point. Right? Like, if you didn't have that desire, then nobody could master you.
Right.
That's such a good point. That is such a good point.
But if you don't desire, then how can you actually experience full, all-out joy?
How can you enjoy life?
Right, because it's the desire for something that really brings... If you have to work really hard for something, like, it's way more enjoyable when you finally get that thing than if it was just, you know, given to you. On my first car, my parents were like, you're gonna have to work and get your first car. And I worked my tail off. Like, I was shoveling before I was 12 and mowing lawns and babysitting when I turned 12, and then I got a job when I was 15, and by the time that I was, well, actually 15 is when I got my car, and I paid for my car myself. And, like, I was so friggin' proud of that car, and, like, I babied it. I didn't gas it and slam the brakes and, like, beat on the thing because I had worked for it, and I was, like, proud of it. But if it had been just given to me, I'd have liked it, but I wouldn't have felt the same because I toiled so long.
So you're relating that to desire? Because you desired the car, and so you put the effort out.
Yeah, but if I didn't have that, and I didn't desire it, and then it was just there, it wouldn't have been so. The enjoyment that I got from that car wouldn't have been like that if I didn't have that intense desire from the time that I was very young. I always wanted to, like, maybe that was part of my escapism all the time. Like, I get a car and have some freedom. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? So it's something I always looked for.
Yeah, you're big.
The car is gonna bring me that, you know?
Yeah, but that's not true.
Right.
Yeah, the car's gonna. It doesn't solve your problem.
No, it didn't.
So it was a false master.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's bunches of ways. Like, there's some really, really smart people that say, you know what? I'm not gonna go to any of y'all because there's so many different masters trying to get you to work for their plantation.
Right. You know what's interesting?
So then some people go, fuck all of you, I'm not going to do anything. But you're miserable!
Yeah, and the thing is, Jesus said something very interesting. He said that there's only two masters.
Right.
So there's him, and then everything else is, like, from, how would you explain?
The devil. Mammon.
Like, yeah, so...
Yeah, it's the devil.
So it's just interesting that, like, we think, oh, there's all kinds of different masters, but Jesus said, no, let's simplify it down.
Yeah, they're all jesters. It's only one.
Yep.
It's only one. There's only two teams.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got a very binary view of the world. There's only two teams.
That simplifies things.
Yeah, but you know, I'm thinking this through, and for me, it's like we were not created to be completely autonomous, like completely self-willed and autonomous. You know, so that's why, you know, I'm not of the belief that we're supposed to be, you know, completely free thinking or whatever. And if you're a free thinking person, you have to have that as a category. Otherwise, you're not free thinking. What if you weren't created to be a completely free individual? Or what if freedom? What if the locus of your freedom is finally embracing the true master, right? Like, it's because the universe is so paradoxical, so you don't find your freedom until you surrender your freedom to the true. But my thing is, I'm also, you know, I love being philosophical and ethereal and all that, but I also am very, very practical. And when I look at human beings, I've never met a human being that isn't serving something.
Yeah.
Not once. I've talked to Navy SEALs, I've talked to people in other whatever. Everybody's a slave or serving something. I've met some very, very interesting people that have done amazing shit in the world, but they're all controlled by something. Some mindset, some idea, some philosophy, some goal, I talk just stuff, so when I put on my practical glasses and go, okay, have you Vin ever met a person like all these like rock stars that are like LaVey and I'm gonna live my own thing? Like I've met them, not all of them, but I've met them. You're addicted to drugs, and I'm not judging you for being addicted to drugs. I'm just saying you have a master. Mm-hmm. You're not completely free. So, for me, it's like.
So how do you know your master? By what gives you peace? Or how can you recognize your master if you don't know that you have a master?
I think your master is something you can't get away from. So here's what I mean by that. There have been times when I'm like, screw this Christianity shit. Mm-hmm. I'm done. Mm-hmm. And then it's like... You can't. I could never... Like, if somebody said your faith or your life... I would die. And it's not because I'm like this virtuous person and I'm brave and I couldn't give up my faith. It's just, I can't live without Jesus. I can't. Mm-hmm. But I've never been able to. Like, my earliest, 2.5, 3 years old, he's always been there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so there have been times where I tried so hard in high school to like complete, which is funny, is like how I got introduced to metal. Like I was trying so hard to disassociate myself completely from Jesus, completely.
Wow.
And my mom was really smart about it because she'd say, I'm praying for you, blah, 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 but she never forced me to go to church. She invited me to church, but she never forced me to go to church, ever. And it was never one of these, if you're gonna live here, she never did that. She was just, I'm praying for you. And we fought like cats and dogs. Like it was, but she never crossed that line, not once. So I tried. I went to, I was in New York City, Manhattan. We got invited to raves and a bunch of crazy shit happened. And I was trying to, and I remember, I tell you this story. I was in this club one time in New York, and I'm sitting there, I'm chilling and watching, the music's going. This person's doing ecstasy over here. This guy's doing coke over here. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on over there I'm not even going to describe. And I just remember very distinctly, you don't belong here. I was so far away from God, but you don't belong here. Like it was just like, so it's just, wow. You can't, I just could never get away from him, ever. No matter how hard I tried or whatever. And, so that's to me like how you, and I think conversely on the bad side, like that stuff happens where you're like, I'm never gonna do this drug again, and you're just going on your day, and then bang, you get hit in the face with it, and it's like right there. No matter how hard you try to run away, it comes back, and that's what Jesus has been to me my entire life. Oh, well, here's Christianity. I don't know. So that's to me how you know what your master is. It's when you try to get away from him, her, and wherever you go, they end up. They're right there, and you end up back in the situation,
Well,
what about you? How would you define what your master is?
Probably by what takes most of your resources. Resources being your time, your money, your thoughts.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it would be, I would think.
Yeah.
Because anything, you can be a slave even to your job. You can be a slave to your laziness. You can be a slave to your, you can
be a slave to the concept of being free.
Yeah.
You end up doing all types of crazy shit just to prove that you're free. Like some of you guys are going to do that after this video. You're like, fuck that Vin guy. I'm going to show him I'm going to be free. And then freedom's like, thank you very much, that's right.
Yeah.
And one of the ways of like manipulating people is like finding out what their master is.
Then what do you do with that?
And then you just use that master and position the master. So you get these like these greedy ass preachers.
Yeah.
And they figured out that their congregation is mastered by their love of money.
Yep.
So then they just say, oh, I got this. Hey, if you do this, this, and this, God's going to give you a bunch of money. It just so happens that you have to give me some of your money, and then you'll make a bunch of money. So you're just selling them their master, because you already know that they're mastered by money. You know these people don't love God that much. So on the one hand, it's like, this son of a bitch, like, look what he's doing to these poor people. Yeah, that's true. But on the other hand,
they put themselves in that position.
They wouldn't be that big if those people were not. I'm not saying. Some of these people are just genuinely gullible people, but some of them are, like I said, I grew up around a lot of these folks. Some of them are just money grubbing. They just want money. They're mastered by money, and so they got a guy who preaches to them about getting money. So really, like con men, for example, like that's all a con man is. A con man's a guy that's figured out what a person's mastered by, and then dangles it in front of them. That's how it works.
That's so creepy.
Yeah. So if you want to be a con man, there you go.
Or if you want to avoid a con man, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, and it's pretty crazy, like, and it's dangerous.
Did you notice that one? It says, "Taste me, you will see."
More is all you need.
Well, because the Bible says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good."
Oh shit, that's true.
Yeah.
And those are difficult faculties, tasting and seeing.
Yeah.
But there's something about tasting that gives you a revelation.
The other thing was in the garden, Eve saw and then she tasted.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. What was that famous quote? They asked Rockefeller, because Rockefeller was like this multimillionaire back 100 years ago, and they're like, "Mr. Rockefeller, how much is enough?"
Yeah.
And
another
he said,
$1 more, right?
He said, "One more dollar."
Yeah.
That's the real fucked up nature of addiction, is that you can never get enough.
Crazy.
It wastes you away.
Yeah, that's so crazy. And the thing is, if your obsession is money and somebody's obsessed with like that, it looks good. It doesn't look as bad as like somebody who's addicted to heroin.
Right.
Because if somebody has an addiction to get more money, it just looks like that they're storing up and preparing for the future and ready for any event that comes, and they're taking care of their family. But that's not necessarily the case.
No, yeah, I mean...
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but no, I get you, because it's like you have one addict judging another addict. This is why it's crazy to me when we judge people. Like, okay, so you're a power addict, and you're going to judge the heroin addict. Woo, good for you. And you know what I mean? Like, that's what people do anytime, because we worked with addicts a lot.
Yep.
And it's crazy, because we were in, like, the gutter inner city, and then you had, like... 2 miles down was the upper middle class, folks, and they have their own sets of addictions and masters that are not God.
Yeah.
And these people were being judged by these people.
Right.
And looked down upon, and like the city people and all this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I know you too. Like, I'm in both worlds, and I know that you're just as fucked up, but you just have
At least the addict knew what they were doing was wrong. They just felt like they couldn't get out of it.
Right.
But at least they saw there was a problem.
Right. And it's and it was tough though. I mean I'm not saying, if you're addicted to money, I mean, you could generally live a very functional life. These guys are heroin and fentanyl. It was in our area, and people were dying, man. Like, people were dropping like flies. People were...
You know what sucked? Was being in that situation and being so naive. Because when they go through the times where they say, "That's it, this has fucked up my life long enough, I'm getting out of this, I'm going to rehab, I'm straightening out," I believed them every time. I'm like, that's it, this is it.
One of the guys who died, he was like a local rapper. And he made a song to his daughter, his son, about, "I'm going to go to rehab and I'm going to be there for you and graduate and all that shit."
Yeah.
And then he died 2 months ago.
The thing is, though, I wouldn't have wanted to lose how do you say that? Naivete. I wouldn't have wanted to lose that, because I wanted to believe them every time. I didn't want to be like, "Oh yeah, you're a typical addict, you're not going to get out of it." I wanted to believe that they were going to change. I wanted to believe that things were going to get better for them. And there was some that did.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the fucked up part about the whole situation, is that in that moment they were telling the truth.
Yes.
Like if you'd asked me in high school, like,
Yeah.
are you done with Jesus? I'd have been like, yeah, absolutely.
One thing I learned. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One thing I learned was don't wait. The Bible says don't wait till tomorrow to do what you can do today.
Yeah.
And that was like a major thing.
It was.
Because in that moment they were ready. So whatever you do, get them to the rehab right then.
Yep. Get in the car.
Get in the car.
Right now.
Doesn't matter what
I'll
you're
take you
doing
right now.
tonight. Doesn't matter how tired you are. Get them there now. They're ready now. Don't wait. Whatever they say that they need. Oh, I need to go back and get my clothes.
Nope.
Forget it. I'll get you clothes on the drive.
I'll buy you clothes.
I'll buy whatever you need. I'm
There's
gonna
a
buy.
Kmart on the way. I'll buy.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Because when they go back, that it sucks them in because they have to go back into that living situation that they were in. You have to just get them
Well, that's
away
just
from
their
it.
master calling them back.
Exactly.
They want to fuck up accidentally.
So no.
But yeah, that one's tough. I remember he died and he had all these songs out, and I was just listening to the songs, and then there's a song about his speaking to his son. So, yeah. Well, there's Metallica. That's a 10. Very native to the human experience for sure. If you have addiction issues, we're gonna put link on the screen and like
In the description. I guess.
yeah, and you know, obviously, you know, we can work on directing you to where you need to go. We're not licensed to anything. Even the people we were working with locally, we were working with the professionals in the area. So, so if you have an issue, we're gonna put that there. Please get help.
Mm-hmm. Don't wait till tomorrow. Go get the help right now. Drop
And-
everything. Go get the help.
Yeah, and I just think we should just think through this. You know, the all the different ways our various masters have either destroyed our lives or have made our lives. You know, my master has made me a better person.
I was gonna say our master helped us to help other people.
Yeah, and the more that I'm like him, the more. Of course, with Jesus, everything's upside down because he says, "I didn't come to be served, but to serve and give my life as a ransom for many." And so, on the one hand, people would call him master, and he would accept it.
Mm-hmm.
But then he would use that power to serve the people that were calling him master, and that's my master. That's who I follow. But whoever you follow, just make sure that it's he, she, it. You are not destroying people around you,
And yourself.
That's the ticket. All right, what do you give the song?
10.
Got to be a 10. It's a classic. It's one I'm going to show my kids. You know, little man walked in and he said, "Hey, play Master of Puppets," because he heard
Oh,
he heard
really?
the Spit Out the Bone recording. So he's like, he wanted to hear Master of Puppets. So now he can hear it. Important song.
Yeah, definitely.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.